The fluorescent lights of Murphy's pharmacy cast everything in that cold, clinical glow that made even healthy people feel sick. Claire Morrison stood at the counter, her 7-month-old daughter Lily crying softly against her shoulder, while she stared at the pile of coins and crumpled bills she'd emptied from her wallet onto the counter. $23.47. That's what she had. The prescription for Lily's ear infection medication cost $68. Claire wore a tan blazer over a gray sweater, both from the thrift store, both chosen because they looked professional enough for her job interviews. Her light brown hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and there were dark circles under her eyes from nights, spent walking the floor with a feverish, crying baby. "I'm sorry," she said to the pharmacist, a kind-faced woman in her 50s named Margaret. I was sure my insurance would cover more of it. I don't understand why." "Your insurance lapsed," Margaret said gently, checking her computer screen. "It shows your last payment didn't go through. Without coverage, this is the cash price." Claire felt her throat tighten. Of course it had lapsed. The automatic payment from her checking account must have bounced when she'd had to choose between insurance and keeping the electricity on. She'd meant to call them to fix it. But between taking care of Lily, alone and applying for jobs and trying to keep her freelance writing work going, she'd forgotten. Can I pay part now and part later?" Claire asked, though she had no idea where the other $45 would come from. Her next freelance check wasn't due for 2 weeks, and it wouldn't be much anyway. "Store policy requires full payment," Margaret said, and Claire could hear the genuine regret in her voice. "I'm sorry, honey. I wish I could help." Lily's crying intensified, her small face red and scrunched with discomfort. Claire bounced her gently, whispering reassurances she didn't feel. Her daughter was in pain, had been for 2 days, and Claire had finally managed to get her to a walk-in clinic that morning. The doctor had confirmed the ear infection and written the prescription. This medicine would help Lily feel better within hours, but Claire couldn't afford it. Maybe there's a generic version?" Claire asked desperately. "Or a different medication that costs less?" Margaret checked her computer again, her expression sympathetic. "This is already the generic version, and according to the notes from your doctor, Lily's had reactions to the cheaper alternatives. This is the one that's safe for her." Claire felt tears burning in her eyes. She'd been holding it together for months, ever since Lily's father, Brandon, had walked out when she was 5 months pregnant, saying he wasn't ready for fatherhood. She'd been holding it together through the difficult pregnancy while working 2 jobs, through the maternity leave she couldn't afford, through the scramble to find work she could do from home, while caring for an infant alone. But standing in this pharmacy, unable to buy medicine for her sick baby, Claire felt herself breaking. Could I just take half?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Maybe half the dose would help and I could get the rest when—" "That won't be effective," a man's voice said behind her. "And splitting antibiotics doesn't work that way." Claire turned to see a man in his late 30s, standing a respectful distance behind her in line. He wore a black overcoat over a white shirt, dark hair styled neatly, and he had the kind of face that was striking without being pretty. Strong features, dark eyes that seemed to miss nothing. "I'm sorry," Claire said, mortified that he'd overheard. "I'll be done in a minute. I just need to figure out—" "How much is it?" the man asked Margaret, stepping forward. "Sir, we're in the middle of a transaction," Margaret said, though her tone was gentle. "I understand. I'm asking how much is the prescription." He pulled out a credit card from his wallet. Black, premium, the kind that had no limit. "Charge it to me." Claire stared at him. "What? No, I can't." "You can, and you will," the man said, his voice firm but not unkind. "Your daughter needs medicine. You don't have the money. I have more money than I'll ever spend. This is simple mathematics." "But I don't know you," Claire protested. "I can't take money from a stranger." "You're not taking it. I'm giving it. There's a difference." He handed his card to Margaret, who looked between them uncertainly. "Please, ring it up." Claire felt trapped between pride and desperation, between the independence she'd fought so hard to maintain and the reality of her crying daughter who needed help. "I'll pay you back," she said finally. "I don't know when, but I will." "If it makes you feel better to believe that, fine," the man said. "But I'm not expecting repayment." Just take care of your daughter." Margaret processed the payment, her eyes suspiciously bright. She handed Claire the medication along with a printed receipt. "God bless you both," she said quietly. Claire clutched the medicine to her chest, with one hand while supporting Lily with the other. She turned to the stranger, words failing her. "Thank you," she finally managed. "Thank you. You're welcome," he said simply. He extended his hand. "I'm Andrew. Andrew Sinclair." Claire shifted Lily to shake his hand awkwardly. "Claire Morrison. And this is Lily." Andrew looked at Lily, who was still fussing, her small face flushed with fever. Something softened in his expression. "She's beautiful." "How old?" 7 months. Claire adjusted Lily's light gray hoodie, which had gotten twisted. "She's not usually this fussy. She has an ear infection. The doctor said this medicine should help quickly. Then you should get home and give it to her," Andrew said practically. "Don't let me keep you." Claire wanted to say something more, something that adequately expressed her gratitude, but Lily was crying harder now, and she knew she needed to get home. "Thank you again," she said. "Really? You don't know what this means?" "I think I do," Andrew said quietly. "Go take care of your daughter." Claire hurried out of the pharmacy into the cold afternoon. Her car, an ancient sedan that was one breakdown away from the junkyard, was parked in the lot. She got Lily into her car seat, gave her the first dose of medicine, and sat in the driver's seat for a moment, just breathing. A stranger had just paid for her daughter's medicine. A stranger who'd overheard her desperation and responded with immediate, no-strings-attached help. In a world that had felt increasingly cold and impossible, someone had shown her kindness. That evening, after Lily had finally fallen into a peaceful, fever-free sleep, Claire sat at her laptop trying to focus on a freelance article she needed to finish. But her mind kept returning to the pharmacy, to Andrew Sinclair and his quiet generosity. She Googled his name out of curiosity and felt her stomach drop. Andrew Sinclair was the CEO of Sinclair Industries, a major pharmaceutical and medical supply company. The articles described him as a billionaire, a philanthropist, someone who'd built his father's modest pharmaceutical supply business into a healthcare empire. There were photos of him at charity galas, at business conferences, accepting awards for innovation and community service. And he'd been standing behind her in line at a suburban pharmacy, paying for a stranger's baby's medicine with the same casual ease most people bought coffee. Claire stared at the screen, overwhelmed. She'd promised to pay him back. But what was $68 to a billionaire? How did you repay someone who'd probably forgotten about the transaction by the time he got home? 2 days later, Claire received an email from an address she didn't recognize. The subject line read, "Lily's medicine." "Ms. Morrison, I hope Lily is feeling better and that the medication helped. I'm writing because I wanted to follow up on our encounter at the pharmacy. I understand you mentioned wanting to repay the cost of the prescription. While I don't need or expect repayment, I also understand the importance of dignity and independence. So I have a proposition. Sinclair Industries is looking for medical writers who can create patient education materials, information about medications, conditions, treatments, etc., in language ordinary people can understand. I saw from your check at the pharmacy, I apologize for noticing, that you had freelance invoices in your wallet, so I assume you're a writer. If you're interested and qualified, I'd like to offer you a contract position. The work can be done remotely, on your own schedule, and pays competitively. You can consider the first month's payment as settling the debt for the medicine, if that makes you feel better. After that, it's simply a job you're qualified for and we need done. My assistant's contact information is below. If you're interested, reach out to schedule an interview. Best regards, Andrew Sinclair. Claire read the email 3 times, then once more. This couldn't be real. CEOs didn't personally recruit writers they met in pharmacy lines. This had to be some elaborate scam but the email address was legitimate, matching the domain of Sinclair Industries' website. And when she looked up the assistant's name, Linda Chen appeared as Andrew Sinclair's executive assistant on the company's leadership page. This was real. Andrew Sinclair, billionaire CEO, was offering her a job. Claire's first instinct was to decline. She didn't want to be a charity case, didn't want a pity job from a wealthy man who felt sorry for her. But then Lily made a small sound in her sleep, and Claire looked at her daughter, healthy again, peaceful. Her fever finally broken, thanks to Medicine Claire. couldn't have afforded without help. Pride was a luxury she couldn't afford either. She responded to the email that she was interested in learning more. The interview was conducted via video call 2 days later. Linda Chen appeared first, professional and warm, explaining the position. Creating patient education materials for various medications and conditions. 40 hours of work per week at a rate that made Claire's eyes widen. It was more than double what she made from her current freelance work. "Mr. Sinclair will join us shortly," Linda said. "He likes to personally meet contractors who will be working on patient education. It's a priority initiative for him." Andrew joined the call a moment later, and Claire felt her nervousness increase. This was the man who'd bought her daughter's medicine, now interviewing her for a job. The power dynamic felt impossible to navigate. "Ms. Morrison," Andrew said with a slight smile. "How's Lily?" "Much better, thank you. The medicine worked quickly,